Hey everyone, welcome to our next episode of the Brave Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host, Jena Rodriguez, and I am your brand business and brave strategist committed to helping entrepreneurs cross that six-figure threshold and beyond through brand clarity, profit enhancement, and just ultimately monetizing your talent and gifts. So I love bringing amazing guests to you, and we have another special one here, Bisila, and I'm so excited to have her here with you. She's coming in from New York. You can see New York in the background.
Yeah.
So welcome. How are you, girl?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm so excited, and we have to give a shout out to Regina Huber for referring you. So we'll have to say hello to her as well.
Thank you, Regina.
Thank you, Regina. She was one of our past guests, so if you missed that episode, please go back to that one. It was a wonderful one. And so tell us a little more about you. Just kind of tell the world who you are and what your business is all about.
Well, my name is Bisila Bokoko, and I was born in Spain from African parents. I'm a double immigrant because I'm first generation born in Spain, and then I moved to the United States, and I did my life here. Being 18 years right now in New York, and I love it. I became an entrepreneur around 7 years ago, and it was one of the things that scares me the most. If anyone told me that I will end up doing my own business, I will never believe it, because I was always this kind of person who likes to play safe.
Yes.
And it feels so good to just tell everyone what to do, because I was consulting people how to do business international, and I'm able to create these plans for them when they were going to international businesses, trips, and organizing their agendas and their events. But it was not my money. It was not me taking risk. So the first time that I make a decision about what is going to be my next direction, I make a decision to just go there, because it's exactly where I feel it the most. But I also knew that it was a calling and a message for me going into the unknown world of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I love that, because, and I think that's what's important for people to hear is that, sometimes what we fear the most is where we need to be. And if there's excitement or enthusiasm and something pulling you towards it, even though like there's the fear that wants to pull you back into safety, it's like, it's the right thing to do. You are in the right place, and we just got to do it anyway. So, and now look at the gift you get to provide the world. So I love that. Is that accurate, that you're still helping people build international businesses? Is that your game?
Yeah, that's my game. That's one of my games. Let's say that I wear different hats, because I think we all Renaissance women, and we like to do different things. So one side of my business is to help companies who have this vision to go and conquer different markets and help them to do so.
Sure. And
another part of my business is really about empowerment. And it's more than business, it's a call, and I love to empower women. So I use my time also spending time in Africa and in Latin America, just helping women to become entrepreneurs and developing business plans for them, and helping them also to get the education that they need. Because to be an entrepreneur also, you need to be educated to be an entrepreneur. It's not just going to business. You really have to be preparing all the time. And I'm sure you know also that we keep always preparing ourselves. We never really ready.
It never ends.
Exactly, never ends. So that's kind of the messages that I like to share with people. That we all are students, and no matter if you are in Ecuador or in the middle of Zambia, if you have a little business or big business in New York, it's exactly the same procedure. You always have to be educating yourself and trusting yourself, having faith in your business, and rely, into others too. Of course, you need also to have extra hands and help you.
Yeah, got it. I love that. And two is because number one, that's the fact that you are helping people in all areas of the world, right? It's about all women and all possibility for wherever they are, they have the choice to step into the space called entrepreneurship. I think that's awesome, like brilliant. And so over the last 7 years, you said you've been in business 7 years. What has really been, obviously getting started and overcoming that initial fear and jumping into it, but what's really been the adversity that you've had to overcome or really work through, or kind of like what's that rock bottom that you've had to kind of jump up from?
Well, I think the first thing is to be flexible. When you see the things are not working in the direction that you want in business, because you started with a plan, and then this plan, it might hit a rock, and then it's not growing. So for me, it was to understand that I had to do a change of direction and tweak things a little bit. And because I was very rational, it was very difficult for me to just really go into the space on trusting my heart, trusting my intuition to move forward. Mm-hmm. And I encounter financial situation, and I have to make some changes, changing the team also, because the team grows with you, but sometimes you need to hire a different kind of people for you to be able to grow, and making also that direction and feeling comfortable about let things go. Yeah. I had to let things go the way they used to do things, and just learn a new way to do business, a more conscious way of doing business, because I study law and economics and I have a very square mindset. Mm-hmm. And the moment that I started to do more conscious business and really thinking more about the others, there is certain things that you need to change. Yeah. And because I was not ready to just living in a roller coaster, that one month you have money and people pay you and things happen, and another month or 2 months, 3 months, nothing happens. So to just get used to that feeling of being continuously without knowing what's going to happen the next day, how I'm going to keep paying my bills, that was really difficult for me to just find that space of feeling comfortable in the unknown. I think that you never really change that situation. You're always going to have ups and downs in business, but what I learned is to be in peace being in that space.
Yeah, and I heard the word velocity, right? And also there's another word, and I'm like, it'll come to me, but it's this sense of instability, right? That entrepreneurship really can be. I mean, there's there's, like you said, the unknown and requiring flexibility. And if you're made up in a way that is like, okay, straight and narrow, A to Z, one step straight forward, you're going to be sadly mistaken. Like business doesn't do that.
Exactly.
Like what are those called? The merry-go-round.
That's exactly what explains exactly how you feel in business. Yeah.
I think I said it the other day. I said, like you might feel like you're in the spin cycle because you're just like going around and around, but you got to jump off at some point. But I think it's really a powerful message for people to hear right now, because there's this expectation that it's going to be one particular way. And although you've got to believe in the ultimate vision, but how you get there is probably going to look very different. And absolutely. Being flexible in how it shows up, I think, is a huge message for people all over the world. Like if you step into this game, right, entrepreneur, then you really got to be like, you got to trust that everything has a purpose and is in your favor. What do you say to that? Like, when someone is like you said, you came out of kind of, I don't know what did you call it? Square?
Yeah, I was a very square, like things are this way, and I could not think outside of
in a box. Yeah.
In a box. So I was in a box because, I mean, when everything works, because it's not your brand what is in place, it's not your company, you just one little piece of engine, it's very easy to move. But then when everything is about you, you could not do things the same way. Yeah. So exactly. You definitely have to go out of the box. And when things are not working, it is a reason why it's not working. And then you need to just open up yourself and be flexible, and also be able to receive information from different sources to understand. But at the end, you have to follow your own compass. It's your direction. And also, that is very difficult, because sometimes you used to have a lot of teams. Sometimes you become the orchestra person because you need to place all these instruments by yourself. And how do you come out of that place? Yeah. So the moment that you start trusting yourself and knowing that at the end of the day, your path it doesn't matter. What it matters is the destination. How do
Yeah.
you get there? You could take different roads. You could just go in circles, but come back on track. It's okay. But we put so much pressure on ourselves, and we say, okay, in 3 years, I need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it might not be 3 years. So that kind of restrictions that we put on ourselves, and sometimes a lot of the entrepreneurs end up really giving up because they put that kind of timelines, that kind of pressure on ourselves. So I think it's what I learned is to flow. And if it's not 3 years and it's 5, it's that okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
will
still
you care when you reach it, right? When you hit the goal.
Exactly. So
That's
you have
good.
to surrender to your own purpose.
Yeah.
Because your purpose just justify the destination, because you know exactly, okay, this is where I want to go, and that's what I want to do. And also when you forget a little bit about the goals, the objectives, all of these things that they teach us that they really just box you.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't really matter. If every day you get up in the morning and you're doing exactly what you really want to do and you love what you do, then you're really winning.
Yeah.
It's not about the money that you have in the bank. It's not about the amount of clients that you could really attract. At the end of the day, you're winning each day when you're doing what you want to do. That's, I mean, when I shift the way that I measure success,
it
changed my life. Because before, for me, success was only measurable through the amount of money or power that I just could show. So I was giving power to the others. I was really looking more for the external validation that what I'm doing is right. And at the end of the day, when you're really hitting that rock, when you really are in that moment that you're in a tunnel and you see no light, what it really matters is I'm doing every day what I really wanted to do. I choose that. It's just that I have to design my life the way I wanted to design. It's according to me.
Right.
Then something just changed in you. I mean, it's so liberating. You feel so free after that.
Yeah. And I heard inside of what you just shared is that when we're in flow, I love that word always, and when we're willing and unattached, right, to how it actually has to be and show up, then we get to actually experience it in a whole different way. And
Absolutely.
And I'm with you on that. I think that I'm very goal driven. I have my goals, and then I release, and then I surrender, right? It's like, you know, if for example, you want to make $1 million in a year, but if you hit it in 13 or 14, does it really matter? Or even 2 or 3? I mean, like, does it really matter? You know, like, and it doesn't mean don't create the goal and the destination. But I love how you are bringing attention to when you start to let go and you start to, you know, open the box, right? And you know, and kind of make your way and do it on your own terms. Then I think a lot more magic and a lot more possibility can show up. When we're closing the box, we can't see all the greatness that's outside of it. Right?
Absolutely. Yes.
So,
we have a very limited vision from that place.
Yeah, very good. So let's go back before entrepreneurship. Like, how did you, like, you know, I don't know much of your younger years, but it's like, what did you have to become? Like, who did you have to become in order to step into being a brave entrepreneur?
Well, I mean, I had a wonderful career before that. Before I was working for the government of Valencia in Spain. This is what brought me into this market in the United States. And I was there for 5 years. Then within 7 years, I was the executive director of the Spain U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Which allowed me to see all the biggest companies from Spain to do business in the United States. And I was really living in a beautiful moment on the relationship between Spain and the United States economically and in trade-related issues. So it was a wonderful time. The thing is that I'm a rebel. That's true. And I like to do things my way. And I was not really exploring my creativity in that particular area. But I still wanted to do it. And of course, you wanted to do it with the money of others. You wanted to do it with the platform of others. And at some point, of course, this kind of freedom I was cut off of this freedom, right? Yeah. And the moment that I lost my job because of that, because I was thinking, oh, this is my circus. I could just do whatever I want.
Got it. So they let you go?
They let me go. And that was a big, a big change for me, because I realized, you know what, you have provoked this situation. Mm-hmm. You brought yourself into the situation. You could not just play the victim here. I could, but I didn't, because then I realized that what the universe was telling me is, okay, you want your own circus, you created it.
Yep.
I mean, this is your opportunity to go and play and do all these big events that you want to do, mixing things and changing industries and doing fashion and doing culture and doing food and wines, all of these beautiful things that I wanted to do. I could do them, but with my own resources.
Yeah.
And using my own creativity and my own force, because I was able to do it. So at that moment is when I make that reflection, and I said, you see, if you go back to the corporate, it's going to happen the same thing. Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, you want to do what you want to do. You want to get up in the morning and make the decision about where, how, and with who you want to be.
Yeah.
And that you could not do it working in a corporation. So I wanted the best of the two worlds. I wanted to be safe and at the same time do whatever I wanted to. Yeah. And that, it didn't click there.
Yeah.
So I paid that price. And then I decided, you know what, I have to fly solo and create my own platforms and have my own voice in the world and do the projects that I really wanted to do, and they speak through my heart. And that was very scary for me, because actually I always been under the umbrella of kind of a government company. So even I was not even measured by my objectives. I was not like in the corporate that you know that you have to bring results or anything. It didn't matter how much I do. I was protected by an organization.
Yes,
in this case, I mean, I felt extremely unprotected when I just moved through in my own way. But after a few years, I realized that this is really what I wanted to do. And actually, it was also a spiritual journey for me, because when all these things happen in your life, it is a message there, and I needed to study what is happening and then go deep into myself.
Yes.
And then when I really get to know myself better, and I just say hello, and now I know who you are and what you want.
I'm listening.
Exactly. It was kind of surprising. And also I saw parts of myself that I didn't really like at all. Mm-hmm. But discovering them, I was also able to change them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I brought all of that into my job, because then there was not a separation between who I was and what I do. It was an alignment. So that is when I knew that I was in the right direction.
I love that. I'm pretty much, I never got, let me think. I'm like, was I ever laid off? If I wasn't officially laid off, I reached a point in my, like almost every job where I was like, can I do it my way? I want to do it my way. I want to do it this way. Not even my way. I just wanted to do it this way, versus like what they wanted. Right. And so you kind of cap out when that leadership part of you, that creative leader, is what I hear is a pretty big indication that like entrepreneurs in your blood. And then you got to go learn how to be an entrepreneur. But, and that was kind of my experience at times too. It's like, I would always kind of cap out, even in the corporate job I was at last, which was at a public accounting firm. And everything was great. Like I was actually being moved up. The president was asking me to take on a different role for the whole company. And I'm over here going, and I'm quitting because I want to go start my own thing. But it was a lot of temptation too, because it's like, that could have been the safe zone, right? The income and what have you, but it was also doing it their way. Right. And so, I just love, I just relate to that very closely. And so congratulations for listening again, finding your own compass. Huge that you shared, you could be a victim called How Dare They Fire Me, or what's in your favor here, and why did you create it? Because you created it, right? somehow,
you definitely created it. And I know that 3 years before this incident, I wanted to leave. I was not really happy, but I didn't want to admit it to myself. I was just lying to myself. And at the end of the day, then I realized, like, you know what? You really create this situation.
Yeah.
And because you were not brave enough at that moment to take that step, the universe forced me to take
2x4.
Exactly. So that happens sometimes.
Yes.
Because 3 years before I was thinking, oh, I should go, but I just wanted to make the jump in the right way. Of course, I wanted to jump from one place from A
one
to
box
B,
to the next box.
and just in a very safe space. And of course, I was thinking someone will come and rescue me and I will get a beautiful offer for a new job. I wanted something happen to me.
Yeah.
And in reality, you know, they said, yes, something is going to happen to you, but it was a big surprise.
It's called laid off. You know, I think this is good because there's people out there that can relate, like they've gone through, like you and I both, right, gone through this kind of path. And I think it's imperative that people get it, whether you're in corporate America or maybe you've never been in a job, but you're in entrepreneurship. You know, a client could fire you, right? But it's an opportunity to look at, well, I think we're 100% responsible for everything that shows up. And when we take responsibility, ownership of that, then we have the power to, number one, reframe it. Number two, choose newly, right? Choose something that's going to serve us and see the silver lining, see the gift inside of it. But if you're playing victim, then you can't see any of that. And you're looking outside of you for the answers and for the blame and the fault. And so I definitely honor you for being brave. I think that is part of being a brave master. And a brave entrepreneur is to take full responsibility for everything and how it shows up. And be able to, and choose choose a new decision and a new way of looking at something. And then you were able to step into what you wanted to do anyway, right? Because if we come from a place of victim, we never step forward. I feel like it pushes us backwards.
Absolutely.
So huge. Yeah, love that. So thank you for sharing that, because I felt like there was something bigger that was like, what had you get into entrepreneurship? What would you say is your advice, I guess, to those that are just getting started, or they could be in corporate America listening to this going, I'd like to start my own thing. Or they're, just getting started, and it's like, but it's, it's that kind of hardship, it's like trying to get it off the ground. What would you advise them?
I think that entrepreneurship is a state of mind. You could be an entrepreneur even in your corporate life.
Exactly.
So not everyone, it's meant to be by its own, working at home or working in a little office or whatever you do. I think a lot of people could be an entrepreneurs, even in the job that they're doing right now. So I think it's a state of mind in reality.
Me too.
Then if you're really thinking about to do your own thing, at the end of the day, what you really need is to take a leap of faith and just jump. You could do it little by little because, of course, you need common sense, and you could not just
pay the bills.
Exactly. You need to live. Honestly, and then you could just kind of put in money aside or do it certain way to make a plan about how do you want to do this. I mean, I think the plan is very important. I also believe that it's good to create a tribe. Be close to people that are doing the same thing as you do.
Yeah.
And I think it is so important because when I was so tired of my job, everyone who come into my life is people who were tired of the jobs, and I look like a job bank, because everybody was like, oh, do you know anybody who's looking for a job? I'm so tired. So it was a reflection of what I was feeling. Yes. The moment that I decided to be happy doing what I do, everyone who I started meeting in my life, it was people who were super happy doing what they're doing. They were really enthusiastic about their paths, and they just were having their businesses and their projects. So I started to create a tribe of people who really think alike.
Yeah.
And that we go through the same things and we could share things. So I think you don't have to do this alone.
Correct.
Find a mentor, which is also very important, to just have someone who you could call at any moment, or someone who could prepare you, who has walked the walk before you. and
Yeah,
also to create a tribe, because of course the life of an entrepreneur is a very solitary life.
right.
You have to do many things by yourself, but it's a choice to do
Yeah,
that like an individual. But that doesn't mean that you have to be lonely. It's
that's
different.
right. It's very different. Yeah, you do not have to be alone or do it lonely. And I love that. And I think that is, it's actually what actually shifted for me, is surrounding myself with the people with the right mindset, the possibility mindset versus the limitation, for
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to hang out with victims, right?
Yeah.
And you've got to be aware of what you're bringing to that, meaning, like you said, it's a self-reflection. So if it's showing up, then it's a huge opportunity to look at yourself first, and then shift who you're hanging out with and the conversations you're having. So totally second that for sure. And finding the mentor, finding the tribe, finding your support group, hanging out on Brave Entrepreneur Podcast. Right?
I think
I have
these
amazing
systems
guests
are
here.
so amazing, because right now, because of the technology, we have access to so much information that before we didn't. Before 10 years or 15 years ago, it was so difficult.
It was.
But now you can just click and just connect with someone. And what is more important is that you could reach out to people who are anonymous in the world, but they're doing exactly the thing that you would like to do.
Yeah.
And all of these people, they could really become your tribe.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I am so grateful for what we have now. I know everything kind of has the pros and cons, but what are you looking at? What are you focused on? And I always focus on the pros, right? Because, and the ability to connect with, people like you, and you're sitting in New York City, I'm sitting in Texas, and it's like, I mean, how huge is that, right? And just technology is such an amazing way to connect. And I'm grateful that I can do something like this and add value to the world. So this has been amazing. So I would love it, especially for everybody watching. How do you suggest people connect with you?
Well, I'm very open in all social media. So you name it, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, anywhere I'm available, and I normally respond. Of course, you have the website, which is www.bisilabokoko.com. And my email is also there. So I'm ready to just embrace your contacts, and we could interact with each other. And for all the viewers today, I would love to just give away something. And it's going to be a mentoring session. If you want to have a conversation about how you become an entrepreneur, or if you are an entrepreneur and you are in a moment that it might be difficult, I'm really happy to help you. And even if it's just a year, I will just offer you that.
Yeah, some guidance, right? So helping you take that leap of faith, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. So thank you for that gift. Thank you for, letting people connect with you. I think you're a superstar out there making difference in the world. So I think people need to connect with you for sure, and follow what you're up to. And so one final question as we kind of close off here. If this was your last interview ever, and you wanted to say something to the world, what would that message be?
Well, I think that we all won. We are all global citizens. And I think that we should just stop having labels. We all really able to just, the whole world is us. And I would like that any way that we do business, that we leave the labels. If you're a woman, if whatever is your sexual orientation, whatever country you come from. What my experience is that the world is global, it is one, and doing international business has taught me that we all part of the same thing. And that we are here with the same purpose, and it's all about others. Because there is no other better way to be that when you concentrate in really service to others, no matter what we do. Because just creating a product, just doing this podcast is all about the people. So that's my experience. I will just leave people with that thought, that the moment that you forget that it's not so much about you, it's really when it's becoming prosperous, your business, and that you make a difference.
Yeah, I love that. We are one, right? We are one.
We are all one, yes.
Yeah.
I'm you, you are me.
Yes, I love it. I see a lot of me in you, right? That's what's beautiful about this.
We're having this conversation and you are in Texas, I'm in New York, but we are able to connect in this amazing level.
Yeah.
And we could feel the chemistry and
for sure.
the togetherness that is happening right now. So I'm sure everybody also could be part of it.
I believe that too. I do. I mean, I'm like, there's so many parallels, and I think that's what the human connection is all about. Like, we are going through this journey on Earth as a human being, and that's the commonality. Human being, period.
Yeah.
So love you, love what you're up to. Thank you so much for your beautiful share and being brave. And, you know, even if you had to get laid off to do it, right? Sometimes we just have to have the wake up call. And thank you for stepping into your greatness and continuing to do so and helping people all over the world. So
thank you, Jena, so much, and continue to do what you're doing best. That is to share with the world the voice of the anonymous people doing great things in the world.
Yeah.
And I'm a fan of yours, and I will continue to listen to all your podcasts. Thank you. You are with me in the gym in the morning. It's such a great thing to just listen to.
Wonderful. Yeah, I try not to make it too heavy, but, you know, like, we got to get a dose of inspiration here.
I think it's the best way to start the day. At least I love that.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that. That's beautiful. And thank you so much. Thank you for everyone watching and listening in. If you love what you've heard and clearly are inspired, maybe you're listening to us on the treadmill, I don't know. Please leave us a review. Reach out to either one of us and share with us your thoughts. And excuse me, I'm getting choked up. It's just really my heart to feed you and to pour into you how great you are. You don't need to change a thing about you, and you already are a brave master and a brave entrepreneur. So step into it with gusto, and I'm here to support you in that. So is Bisila. So thank you, beautiful woman. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon. Until then, let's go get our brave on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sure.